They might not have met, but fate had other plans. A tearful Sarah appeared in the doorway of the cafe. "Vic, I changed my mind. It was a mistake." But it was too late. Victor was looking only at Emily. Emily looked at the phone screen where a message was burning like a cold spot. "Sorry, urgent matters. We won't be able to meet. Some other time?" This was the third time in a month that Michael had disappeared into nowhere, leaving behind only routine excuses and an icy emptiness. She felt it with every cell of her body. The invisible wall between them was growing with each passing day. Their conversations were becoming shorter, his gaze more absent-minded, his caresses more mechanical. Something was wrong. Something had broken. Anger, hot and bitter, rose in her throat. She squeezed the phone so hard that her fingers turned white and threw it with all her might on the bed. Without thinking, throwing on the first coat she came across, white, light, completely unsuitable for the approaching bad weather, she ran out of the house. The downpour fell suddenly like a bucket of ice water. Large, heavy drops lashed her face, instantly soaking her hair and coat. She looked around looking for shelter and saw the sign of a small cafe. She rushed towards it, stumbling on the wet asphalt. Throwing open the door, she rushed inside, shaking herself and wiping her wet face with her sleeve. And at that very moment, she crashed into someone standing in the aisle, knocking a large paper cup out of his hands. Dark brown liquid latte generously decorated her snow-white coat with disgusting streaks. Emily looked up. In front of her stood a man of about 35, tall, with tired but kind eyes the colour of sea green. He held a pack of paper napkins in his hands, handing it to her. There was no anger on his face, only deep, genuine sadness and a shadow of tired irony. Emily silently accepted the napkins, trying to wipe off the coffee, knowing that it was useless. The coat was hopelessly ruined. "It seems that my portion of coffee is now decorating your clothes," the stranger continued. "Maybe I should compensate for the damage with a cup of hot chocolate?" Emily agreed, and they sat down at the table. The conversation flowed surprisingly easily. They talked about the rain, about books, about stupid accidents. Emily almost forgot about Michael, about her anger, about her wet coat. But suddenly, Victor fell silent, thoughtfully twirling his cup of espresso. Then he sighed, and his gaze became detached, directed somewhere into the past. "You know, Emily," he began quietly, not looking at her, "today was supposed to be the most important day of my life. I was supposed to get married, but the bride ran away, right from the registry office, said she couldn't, that she loved someone else, some Michael." He took out his phone to show the photo of the runaway bride. The screen flashed before Emily's eyes. The world turned upside down, froze, floated. On the screen, shining and happy, hugging Victor, was Sarah, her best friend since childhood, her sister in spirit, the one to whom she trusted all her secrets, including her torment over the distant Michael. Victor saw the pallor and silent horror on Emily's face. Understanding flashed in his eyes, terrible and final. "Do you know her?" he asked dully. "Do you know this, Michael?" But then Sarah stood in the doorway of the cafe, soaking wet, with mascara smeared across her face, out of breath. Her gaze darted around the room and found Victor and rushed to the table. "Vic, I changed my mind. It was a mistake, a huge, terrible mistake. I was scared. I didn't understand. Forgive me. Come back." She tried to grab his hand, but Victor pulled away. His face turned to stone. All his tired sadness was replaced by icy calm. He was not looking at Sarah, not at her tears and pleas. He was looking only at Emily. Seeing her friend, she was at first confused. Then something flashed in her eyes. Shame, anger, panic. "Em? What are you here?" she muttered, but Emily couldn't speak. A lump in her throat was constricting her breathing. She saw her pain reflected in Victor's eyes and Sarah's betrayal standing there wet and pitiful. The world narrowed to this table, to these three, connected by invisible threads of deception and pain. A year later, Emily and Victor opened their cafe. It exuded coziness, warmth and love. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee, homemade pastries and chocolate hung in the air. On the wall by the entrance, in a beautiful frame, hung a slightly blurry photograph, a downpour outside the window, a wet sidewalk, and the silhouettes of two people colliding in the doorway. The caption read, "The beginning, September 12. Sarah comes to them sometimes, alone."